Welcome back to Real Estate 101. Today we're going to talk a little bit about pre-sale inspections, and I'm pleased to be joined once again by Greg McHale of CSS Inspections. Greg, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
All right, Greg, so I want to start today's show and I want to ask you, what is a pre-sale inspection?
A pre-sale inspection is where the owner has a home inspector come in and look at the property prior to listing the property, because they want to understand what the issues are concerning that property.
Okay, now why would a homeowner or anyone want to do a pre-sale inspection?
It's a very useful thing to do. It allows the homeowner to take control of the sale cycle. It allows the homeowner to understand what the issues are associated with the home and make a decision of how to deal with those issues and develop a strategy to deal with each issue that is there. It also enables the homeowner to decide on some items that they may not want to do. They would prefer to put them off some other times things. So it also helps them to understand or get a base set of what the concerns are, so that if a buyer has another inspector come in, then you already have one inspection done and you can compare the two.
Okay, Greg, so let's say I'm selling my home and I've had it a pre-sale inspection done. I've got a report. Now what?
Well, the first thing to do is we sit down with your inspector and go through the report so you understand what the issues are. And the next point it would be is to kind of prioritize what items are on that report. There'll be a bunch of items on that report that are minor in nature, minor being that you could repair them yourself very quickly. There's other that will be maybe major, and those ones you want to strategize more as to how to resolve those issues. The ones that are bigger issues, you might want to sit down and talk with your real estate agent and the home inspector, possibly at the same time, to kind of strategize how to deal with some of those more major issues.
All right, Greg, so what are the issues or major issues that you normally find when you're doing a pre-sale inspection?
Major issues that buyers are concerned with are things like roofs, foundations, electrical, furnace. They're kind of the big dollar items if you have to do something on it. Sometimes there's also a whole pile of small items. They're not expensive to do, but they're just a long list.
Yeah.
So it just takes some time to do it. With furnaces, a furnace could be nearing the end of its life. It may still be functional, but as long, from a home inspection perspective, we work off of 5 years. So if we think that it's okay for the next 5 years, then as a home owner, you may not have to do anything with your furnace. If it needs to be replaced, then rather than paying all the money out to have a furnace replaced, you could lease it or lease a new one or rent a new one. So therefore, you're not doing a cash outlay at that time. You could pay it off when the house is sold, or even transfer the lease or rental agreement to the new owner. So you're not carrying all that cost because they're going to get the benefit from that anyways.
Right.
Foundations is a big one, because foundations are water leakage, insurance issues. A lot of cost can be involved. Block foundations, concrete foundations. So if you've got problems with the foundation, you'd want to know that before you try and sell your home, and then deal with the issues. Some of them issues, if you've got cracks in the foundations, they're fairly easy to fix. And the cost is between $400 to $600 to have a crack fixed. So better off having that fixed rather than a buyer making a big issue about it and saying, okay, I want a couple $1,000s off. Block foundations are a little more work involved, possibly in resolving some issues there. But again, you're in control, so you can decide how you want to deal with those issues on that. With a roof again goes back to the 5 years. Is it going to last for another 5 years or not? And you could decide to reshingle the roof. You could decide that, okay, leave it to be part of the negotiations. You pay half, the buyer pays half. Or there's a couple different ways you can do that. You could add it into as part of the financing for the house, that you could finance it for them or something like that. There's different ways you can handle with that. Electrical is a big issue, especially if your home is an older home, may not be upgraded, old 60 amp circuit breakers or aluminum or with fuse panels, then it can, insurance companies will drive a lot of issues with that, and buyers may not understand that, but they'll quickly find out when they talk to an insurance company. And so there could be a lot of work required there. That is an item that can cost a lot of money, It doesn't necessarily have to if you plan ahead and deal with some of the issues. So if you have aluminum wiring, then for $250 to have ESA come in and do an inspection, repair all the issues, we change all the outlets and switches over to aluminum rated outlets and switches. If you paid somebody to do that, it costs you about $800 to $900. You can do it yourself and save that. And so then you don't have those issues associated with the buyer. The fuse panel, changing over to breakers, you're looking at $1,200 to $1,500. Again, you can make decisions on whether you want to do that or not, or just get it such that the panel is already approved by ESA, and so from an insurance company perspective, it's approved, so they have to give insurance. Now, the rates may be a little bit different on it, but they would have to insure it.
Okay, Greg, so in your experience, how do buyers normally react when a seller has done a pre-sale inspection?
My experience, my clients have been, the buyers react very favorably. What happens is I sit down with the seller, we go through the report, they take whatever corrective actions they've done themselves, or maybe they hired somebody. And what they do is they leave the report out on the table. They'll have the checklist there, things that they fixed, they'll mark off. I suggest they leave copies of their invoices or bills if they've hired anybody to repair anything. And the buyer comes through and can seize everything. So there's full disclosure, very transparent. And the buyers seem to appreciate that. So they already have these answers there. Sometimes I've had sellers ask me to come back and do a re-inspection after they fix things to make the list smaller. So now you got a little list up there, and they decide, well, maybe they're not going to fix some of these items, or they're going to talk about it to the buyer on how to deal with those issues. So, and my experience is that the houses sell very fast, usually within 2 weeks after it's been listed. And my experience also is that the buyers do not get a home inspector. They just use the inspection and the report that's there.
Okay, Greg, so how frequently do pre-sale inspections occur?
Not that often. They occur more frequently in a market where it's a buyer's market, and sellers are trying to sell their property. They want to make it, make sure it sells as fast as possible. It does happen in a seller's market too, and really it comes down to the homeowner wanting to take control of that whole cycle, and also they want to have it sell as quickly as possible. So if you've got a time constraint and how you want to have your house sold, then it's a good strategy to do that.
All right, Greg, so for today's final question, I want to ask you, is a pre-sale inspection the same length and substance as a normal inspection that would be done by someone who's buying the property?
It's a good question, and the answer is yes, it is. It's the same type of inspection. The only difference really is how I focus my responses back to my client, which is the seller in this case, and help them to strategize how to deal with the results of the inspection. Other than that, what I do, the work I do, the report is identical.
All right, Greg, good stuff. Thanks for coming on today's show.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
So there you have it. If you're thinking about selling your home, it may be a good idea to have a pre-sale inspection done. Get in contact with Greg McHale at CSS Inspections. I'm your host, Joe Tercera. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.